Hi, welcome to episode 9 of the Stitchin Book Knurd podcast. This one is titled Don't Watch This, Jana. You'll see why later. Jana's my sister-in-law, for anyone who's wondering. Hi, welcome. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm actually recording when I said I would 2 weeks later. I think. Yeah, 2 weeks later. Welcome. Let's get started. Disclaimer. I am figuring out where and how to record in this new space. It's late at night, so there's not a lot of natural light, but I needed to get this done and today, so for reasons you'll see later. So just bear with me. The lighting's not great, and I'll figure it out. Anyway, it's good enough. So, my name's Dana. You can find me in various social media places like Instagram, Ravelry, and the cross stitch forum as Book Knurd, BOOKKNURD. I haven't been as active on the cross stitch forum until this week. I got back on. I found that my work, so when I first started my new job, this is a bad thing to say, my work had the cross stitch forum blocked on the internet, like 100% blocked, could not get to it. My old job didn't have the forum blocked, but it had photo bucket blocked, so I couldn't see a lot of pictures that people posted, because a lot of people link pictures there from like Flickr or photo bucket. So, but I could at least read comments and stuff. And anyway, in this job, something happened. I don't know if the internet updated and they haven't reset the security filters or something, but in the meantime, I can get on it. Now, before you think I'm a lazy person who doesn't work, I haven't been on it a lot since I've been there. And then 2, I do a lot of things where I have to run processes on my computer, and then I can't really use my computer for much besides internet browsing. So I really only do it at those times. So I'm not being lazy or not doing my job. So in case anyone's curious. So I'm back active on there and Ravelry and things like that. And I'm pretty active on Instagram, or I try to be, so follow me there as well. So we have a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it, shall we? First up, stitching. I haven't shown stitching in a long time. I am working on one project right now. Well, I mean, it has several works in progress, but only one is getting any attention right now. And that is the Superhero Alphabet by Wee Little Stitches, and here's my progress so far. So I have 6 full letters, and then I'm working on D. And this is a baby present. One of my sister-in-laws is having a baby in October. And it's first grandchild in the family, so this baby's getting lots of presents from me, handmade presents. This is a big one. So both my sister-in-law and her husband really like the superhero movies, like all the ones that come out now, and so that's why I'm making this for them. And we don't know the baby's gender, so this is some people would say this is like a boy gendered present, but I disagree. And there's a girl superhero on here. I haven't done one yet. I think E is Electra, so that's a girl. Anyway, I disagree with that, and I think it's a really cool present, and their parents like superheroes, and that's what it's for. So so here it is. So far, what was I saying? So this is by Wee Little Stitches. I'm doing this on, I don't know if you can tell, this is 16 count, I believe, white Aida. I picked Aida for this project. I don't do everything on Aida. In fact, I do most things on linen or even weave. But I picked Aida because I think it suits this project. One, I wanted solid white. It's hard to find. Well, I guess you can get it like at Hobby Lobby or something. But, so I wanted solid white. It's just easy to find solid white Aida. And then also, like, these little people are pixelated, and so the blocks on the Aida really suits this well. Just kind of reinforces that pixelated look. So that's one reason why I picked it as well. I am not someone who has strong preferences one way or the other on fabric. Like, some people only stitch on one count, one type of fabric, like only 32 count linen or something. And while I do have, things I like better than others, really for me it's all about the project and what the project wants to be on. So this one wanted to be on white Aida, and I did it. I'm pretty sure it's 16 count. 14 count would make it too big, 18 count too small, and this would make it the size I wanted it to be. That's the other thing on counts of fabrics. I always pick the size that will make the project the size of the finished size I want it to be, more than I do what I like to stitch on. And then also what color I can get. Those are the two most important things. So yeah, so this is going well. This project is really special to me, not just because it will be for my future niece or nephew. This will be my first niece or nephew ever. I'm an only child, so I won't have any nieces or nephews from like my side of the family. So I'm pretty excited, and yeah, so that's special. But beyond that, this is what got me in all of this craziness that is my life now. I see. Was that only a year and a half ago? A year and a half ago. Sorry, I just got blown away by how not long ago that was. So a year and a half ago, I was in grad school and I was working at an internship somewhere where I had nothing to do, so I spent all my time on the internet. I asked for things to do all the time, by the way, and I just never had anything to do. So anyway, I was on the internet one day, surfing around, and stumbled upon Kitschy Digitals, which is a site that has they have digital scrapbooking paper and patterns and things I don't know to buy, and they kind of are a, what am I trying to say, distributor for various independent designers' patterns. Anyway, and I was flipping through there, and I had done cross stitch like many years ago when I was like, I don't know, 12 years old or so like that, and I never finished anything, and I had just done it. It's like I knew how to do it or knew what it was or whatever. So I saw this pattern, and I thought it was perfect for my sister-in-law and her husband, who at the time were not pregnant or trying to have kids. But I was like, I know this stuff takes a long time. I'll go ahead and start it, and then it'll be done by the time they have kids, right? Okay, so that's great. So I waited until I was out of grad school because I was really, really busy. So I waited until the summer, and I started it. And I started it the second week in May, and then within like another week or so, I had taken off into the world of cross stitch. So it kind of ignited this passion for embroidery and cross stitch and stitching, which then developed into knitting and sewing, all this stuff. So yeah, here, you're looking at it. This started all of it. The reason that I'm in a craft room right now is this pattern. And the funny thing is I stitched like 2 letters and then I moved on to other projects and I dropped it, and then I came back to it later and figured out that it was on the wrong size fabric, like it was too small, so I had to restart it. So yeah, and so now my original goal of having it done well before the baby was born, not going to happen. It's going to be done right up like when the baby is born, if I can stay on track, which right now I'm like a week or so behind. But I gave myself like a week of wiggle room there, so I should be okay. So yeah, so this is really exciting, and I'm loving it. It's just so cute, and everyone's different, so it's not too tedious to stitch on, and then each one's like a little mini finish, of course. So there it is. So I have 6 and the third done. I have 26, so I have a lot more to do. But anyway, so who do we have so far? We have, this is Aquaman. I'm sure you recognize Batman. This one I did not recognize. I only know a few superheroes, so, but this one is Cyclops, I found out. This will be Daredevil. He will have a D here, it's not them. Flash, Green Lantern, and the Hulk. So like I knew the Hulk and Batman, and I could guess Flash and Daredevil, and that's it. So that's how nerdy I am. I am pretty nerdy. I play video games and like fantasy and stuff like that, but I've never been super into superheroes. I like them fine. I just not my fandom of choice. So yeah, so that's that. So hopefully you'll see a lot more progress on this. And that's it. So that's it for stitching. I would like to work on other stitching projects, but I have to get that done. I want that done before the baby comes. I'm going back in October back to our home state, which is where my sister-in-law who's pregnant lives. And I will be there about a week. before the baby's due. So I won't be there when the baby's born unless the baby comes early, and then I'll just happen to be there. But I'm going back for a retreat, but I'm hoping to have all of my baby gifts done so I can go back, and then before I go to the retreat, I can see them and give them all these presents before the baby's born, like right before the baby's born. So we'll see. Hopefully that all works out. So I'm doing that, several other smaller things, and then the other big thing is a quilt that I had showed you guys the fabric for last time. So the quilt has not been started yet, to be honest, for reasons I will show you in a second, but I will be starting it this week for sure, because it's got to get done. I have no idea how long it's going to take me. Okay, so that was stitching. Knitting, works in progress. Socks, which I've had no progress since I showed you them last time, so I'm not going to show them this time. I'm working on my first pair of socks. I'm on the second sock. And I still like that product a lot, but I was focused on something else knitting this last couple of weeks. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, my other work, I have several works in progress, like I do everywhere, but the one I'm like focused on right now is the pendulum shawl. I have shown you guys the yarn for this like several episodes ago, which at this point was like 5 months ago. But I cast it on size 8s, and I like the gauge I was getting, but I checked gauge and it was off, and so for some reason I decided to do it on size 9s, but then I didn't like the gauge on that and it was too big, so I took it back off and recast it on 8. So this is my 3rd time casting it on, but I'm happy with it now and I'm not going to change it. And let me just pull up the pattern. So this is the Pendulum Shawl by Amy Miller, and there is a picture of it. So just kind of a crescent shaped shawl, and let's see, oops, with these stripes that go down the middle, but it's like one stripe comes over and then comes to a point, and then this one is wide over here, but then it comes to one over here. So yeah, like I don't know if you can see this. So see how they start wider and then they come to points and then they start wider. So what I'm doing is, like for instance, these white stripes will be a solid color, and then these stripes will alternate between the 2 yarns that I have. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm using Barking Dog yarns Opposites Attract. So, and I think I've talked about, I have 2 colors of these. I got these for Christmas. So what these are is you have one color, it's like a main color, so in this case it's kind of golden color with little blips of 2 other colors, so this raspberry and this blue, and then so you get 2 skeins when you buy this yarn. And then the other skein is like one of these colors, so this blue with little blips of the gold, and then the raspberry. So you have the raspberries like an accent color in both, and then the other 2, alternate between the main and contrasting colors. And it's just variegated, so it just kind of shows up whenever the yarn. So I'll do like a stripe of this, and then my solid is the Shibui Knits in raspberry. Oh, that's not showing that color at all. It's a raspberry color, very pretty. So then, and then a stripe of this, and then I'll do a stripe of this, and then a stripe of this, and then a stripe of blue, and then so on and so forth. So, not sure if this is going to work yarn quantity wise. It should theoretically, but since the stripes get bigger, it's kind of hard to tell. So fingers crossed that this works, because I think it's going to be really pretty if it does. Yeah, there's that. So I'm just got a little bit more to go on this section, and I'll start the red. And this will also be my first time doing short rows, which is like a knitting technique. So yeah, so there's that. So I'm really enjoying that, and those will be really good fall colors, so I'm hoping to have that done before it gets time. Like there's plenty of time before it gets cold here, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, there's that. And that's on, well, I'll tell you more details on it later. Okay, so last thing in knitting, I have a finished object. So excited. I think I said I was working on this last time, but I didn't show it to you guys. Okay, it is finished, but the ends aren't woven in, so this is not part of it. But this is a cow. FYI, all the knitted finished objects I have so far are cows. So that's kind of strange. Anyway, this is the flip side cow. And it has been blocked. Those of you who aren't knitters, blocking means you get the wool wet and you stretch it out to the whatever shape you want it to be. So in this case, I stretched it a little bit so it would show the stitch pattern better. And then wool will hold that stretch as it dries, and then it will be that shape that you wanted it to be when you stretched it. It'll stay that way. As unlike a plant fiber that won't hold stretch, it will just go back. So let me show you. So here's it. This is by Paula McKeever, and it's called the Flip Side Cow. So it is reversible, and it's supposed to be done in like a solid yarn. And you can see that it makes these little zigzags, and then you have little sections of different stitch patterns like stockinette, garter, and broken rib. And it's supposed to be done in like a solid yarn like you saw there, but I didn't. I did it in a variegated yarn because I felt like it. But it's very pretty. And you can still see the zigzags. So from far away, you know, it looks variegated, and then up close you can still see the zigzags, and then the stockinette, the garter, and the broken rib. And I think it's really pretty. My bind off was a little tighter than my cast on. So like, here's the bind off side. It doesn't really stretch. And here's the cast on side, and it's stretching a lot. So that could have been improved upon. And like I said, I do have to weave in those two ends. But I like it a lot. I can wear it double like this and kind of set that up, or I can wear it just like a circle scarf and let it lie flat there. So, finished object, yay! I'm really happy. Oh, the yarn. And I did that on what it called for, which was size 6 needles. So when I knit pretty tightly, but it also depends on what kind of needles I'm using. So I knit this on bamboo needles. Bamboo, let me see if I get this right. You tend to knit looser on wood needles than metal needles. And I already knit tight, but if I knit on bamboo needles and I use the size that the pattern calls for, I usually get gauge. If I knit on metal needles, I have to go up like sometimes 2 to 3 sizes to get gauge because I just knit tight. Part of that's because I'm a new knitter, and part of that's just because I do everything tense. So, like I hold pins and pencils tensely, and stitch tense, not tense like I'm uncomfortable, just like hold things tightly. So I don't like using size 28 needles, little teeny tiny needles, because I feel like I'm going to snap them and stuff like that. So yeah, here's the yarn I used to detour into my knitting life. So yeah, so I did this on bamboo needles, and so I did size 6, which I believe is what the pattern called for. Here's the yarn I have left. You can't see the colors, but they're purples and pinks. This looks much more drab than it is in real life. There's even some like indigo, almost looks like a royal blue, or I guess really dark purple. And this is Dream in Color Everlasting DK yarn, which is 100% superwash Australian merino wool. And I used one skein, which had 270 yards. And I think the pattern called for, I don't remember. What's it called? Now, if I remember correctly, I'm going to look, because I thought it called for like right at what I had. It's like 250 to 270, but I was probably more in the 250 range, but I have quite a bit left. So, which is fine, because I'm happy with the size, and I mean, I knit it the way it was supposed to be knit size-wise, so that's cool. Sorry. Okay. So yeah. Yay. Okay, finished off it. So that's it for knitting. Coming up knitting, I have lots of, what do I know? I have lots of projects that I want to do, but am just kind of in a knitting mood right now, and so I have lots of things I want to start, some of which are for my husband. So I'll just have a runaway. Okay, one of which is for, or two of which are for my husband. I do have some knitting projects for the baby as well, but I'll show you guys those later. So, okay, so one thing I want to do is knit my husband some socks, and this will be his first pair of socks. This is Patton's Croy in the extremely popular blue rag shade. Blue striped rag shade. So this will be self-striping like my socks. And I'm kind of jealous of how I want this color. I might buy me some markers and knit it for me, but probably, I don't know, maybe not. And I also want to knit him a hat, but he doesn't know that yet, and I need to measure his head discreetly. I don't know if I can do that. Whatever. So if I can measure his head discreetly, I'll knit him a hat secretly. If not, it will be not a secret. And this is a very dark hunter green that looks black in the camera right now because my lighting is horrible. And it's just Cascade 220 super wash, so it will make a nice hat. And I haven't picked a pattern yet, but it will be very pretty. My husband has dark brown hair and dark green, almost hazel eyes, and so this will be very pretty on him, whether or not he agrees with me. I can't ask him what color he wants because he'll pick weird colors. Okay, so that's all first knitting. I have done some spinning, so last time I think I had talked about I went to a spinning class and I got to try a wheel, but obviously I don't have, well obviously you don't know that, but I don't have a wheel right now and I won't for some time. So I'm using a spindle right now at home. So here's kind of what I'm working on. This is just practice. I need a lot of practice. This is not something that comes naturally to me. It can be quite frustrating at times just because it looks, if you ever watch a YouTube video of something someone's spinning, it looks very simple and like easy to do and like, oh yeah, you just do that. It's not. It's complicated. It doesn't work right half the time. I mean, kids coming from a beginner, obviously people know what they're doing. It's not this hard. And it's just frustrating sometimes. And so it comes and goes. I'm trying to practice because it does get easier as you practice. So here's my what I have, and you can see it's very thick and thin. So I did have more yarn on there. I got really mad at it. I took it off and wound it into a little ball. So here's my little first ball of yarn. It's crazy, but yeah, there it is. So I have officially made yarn. I don't think I can make anything with it. Like, look how thin this is. That's super thin. And then you have like this part, which is super thick. So that is that. And I'm just spinning that out of some gray roving that I got when I bought my spindle last November when we went to Austin, Texas, and I went to, what is that called? Hill Country Weavers. I don't know, it was like the best yarn shop I've ever been in. And I'm kind of mad that I went when I didn't know that much about knitting. So I didn't know what to do there. I didn't know what to buy. I'm gonna go back. My husband don't like Austin, so maybe I'm not gonna go back. Okay, I'll stop daydreaming about yarn. What else did I do? Sewing. I did sew some, not on the baby quilt, but on something. Jana, if you didn't listen to me and this is where you're watching, stop watching. Don't watch. Turn it off. Turn it off, Jana. Don't do it. Unless this is after I told you to, and then you can. Not before I told you. Okay. So for you, those of you who aren't my sister-in-law, Jana, it's her birthday on Friday. I'm so excited. Well, I'm not excited. I'm gonna be there to celebrate. But I'll be there in spirit. Happy birthday. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so I made her a birthday present, and she can't see it. It's not her birthday yet. But I'm gonna mail it to her, and so I wanted to film this before I don't have it in my hands anymore. And then also, I told you guys I would get this out in 2 weeks, and I'm going to, and here I am. So, yeah. So I made Jana like a gift set, sort of. And here, I'll just show you. It's going to be hard to kind of show all this at the same time. Hold on a second. So both she and my brother-in-law and my husband and I said both, all of us, like to drink coffee. And so I made her a little coffee gift set. So she has a French press cozy that's quilted and some coasters that match. So yeah, so that's what I made. Isn't it cute? This is my French press. Her French press is the same size, but it's red, so it will match these much better than my green French press. But I wanted to model it. So a French press, for those of you who don't know, is just something you make coffee in, and it's for coffee snobs, pretty much. And I'm not a coffee snob, I just like coffee, and we have a French press. But it's nice, like if you're going to make 1 cup of coffee and you don't want to run the coffee pot, you can just boil some water and do it in this. But anyway, so if you've made like a lot of coffee in here and you want it to stay warm, you can put this little cozy on it. It's got insulated batting in it, so it should keep heat inside pretty well. And it just goes on and off with Velcro. So, and this has some flying geese blocks on it. That's just what this block is called, flying geese, for those non-quilters. And yeah, this was my first quilting thing that turned out without everything not lined up all great. But I'm super proud of myself. All the points line up pretty well. You can tell that. And I quilted the triangles, just quilted, outlined a triangle shape in all the triangles. And I'm pretty proud. I tried really hard on this to make everything line up right. There's the back. And I think it did good. First time sewing Velcro, that's really easy to do. You just sew around the Velcro. So, oh, that's inside out. But yeah, so that's the cozy. Oh, and I picked these colors. She has the Sophie Conran dishes, and I know she has the white ones, and for some reason I thought she had the teal ones, but even if she doesn't, that's the inspiration I was using. And then she has the red French press, and then I just thought the gray was a good neutral, and there's some white in there too. So I think it'll be super cute with her dishes, and I wish I was there to use it with her. But anyway, Jana, if you like this present, that's totally fine. Just use it when I'm there and pretend like you like it. I don't know, this is a gift. I told my husband what I was making for her, and he was like, do you think she'll even want that? I was like, well, of course, why wouldn't you? It's like a little coat for your French press. I hope you guys like it. Jana Gray can use it too. That's right. So yeah, so that's it. Like I said, I'm really proud of it, so you don't have to like it. I think she'll like it. I would have made it for her. And these are the coasters. And so these don't have insulated batting, but they have batting in between these. And then this square is appliqued on. First time doing applique. They're not perfectly centered, but I tried really hard. I tried my best. And they're handmade. It's not going to be perfect. Especially for someone who's been sewing not that long. So you just sew these together and then sew the back on, and then you do pinking shears around the edge, and it gives it this little ridged edging on it. And so all of these fabrics are from the same things in the cozy. So we have this red and white polka dot, these red and white abstract flower things, a blue, robin's egg blue, a regular polka dot. I love the regular polka dots, y'all. So all the regular polka dot, and that's the term I made up, by the way, means is that, so instead of the polka dots being in like straight lines in uniform, they are not quite all the same size, and they're kind of randomly placed. And for whatever reason, I love me some regular polka dots. And then I thought this fabric was so cute. This Robin's Egg Blue with red, which I'm really loving this color combination. Just these little pinwheel things. And I had this color combination in my head before I bought fabric, and then I had to go find this. And I looked and looked and looked, and I found one fabric that had Robin's Egg Blue with red on it. So, anyway, super excited. And then there's 8 coasters, 2 of each fabric thing. I don't think she'll ever have to use 8 coasters. But if she ever has 8 people who want to have tiny cups of coffee from her French press, she'll be prepared. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, I was super pleased with how these turned out. So I hope you like them, Jana. If you're watching now. Yep. So that's it. I will be working on the baby quilt next. I have lots of other things I want to do. But baby quilt would be priority number 1. Oh yeah, and I got these projects. I found them online. There's a blog called the Moda Bake Shop. Moda is a very popular fabric line that is it's just a popular fabric producer, and they have a blog called the Moda Bake Shop where they come out. Moda has like pre-cuts, so like the fabric that I have for the baby quilt was in what's called a layer cake, and that's just Moda's name for like a pack of 10 by 10 squares, like 40 10 by 10 squares. It's layer cake. So the Moda Bake Shop takes all those different pre-cuts and gives you different project ideas for them. So if you say like I need 1 layer cake and a yard of solid color fabric, and I can make this baby quilt or something. So anyway, so I was just looking on there for gifts, and that's where I found these. So I have, this is the Hot Java French Press Insulating Sleeves. There's the tutorial for that, and these are free patterns. And then they have some quick gifts. This was a 30-minute gift. It took me longer than 30 minutes, but I'm also not great at sewing yet. And so these are just simply colorful coasters. So all in all, not too hard of gifts, and I finished them in like 2 sittings of sewing, and then plus cutting fabric. So not too bad. So that's sewing. I have a tiny bit of stash enhancement. We were looking at curtain fabric for our second. So we have 3 bedrooms, 1 of which we sleep in, 2 of which are spare bedrooms. One is the craft room, and then the other one is our guest room / my husband's movie watching room. He really likes to watch movies. He's very picky about the lighting. Our living room has really big windows, like tons of natural light. You can't block it at all. And it puts a glare on the TV, and that bothers him. And his main movie watching time is in the afternoon these days because of his schedule, so when the sun's out. And so he's going to make this other bedroom his movie watching room, which is fine because like all he needs is a decent TV and a place to sit, and that's it. So the fact that there's a bed in there isn't a big deal. Anyway, but he needs some curtains to block those windows, and so I'm going to make him some. All of which is to say, when we were at Joann's buying fabric and stuff, I found something else I wanted. Joann's was having like a huge sale on like everything in the store, and one of those was books, and so they had this book, which I've been wanting for a while now because I keep seeing it on Instagram and stuff, for like 40% off, which was not bad because it's like usually $28, so I took it. And this is the Vintage Quilt Revival by Katie Clark Blakeslee, Lee Henrik, and Faith Jones. And it's 22 modern designs from classic blocks, and so there's lots of projects in here that are just really cool, and they're very geometric, which I like, but still modern, especially when you pick colors and stuff. And but what I really want to do is a sampler quilt on the front. It has like I think this has 20 blocks in it. I think this is so cool. There's another Moda's coming out with like a kit or something this September. That's like a big modern sampler, but all these blocks are different sizes. I want to do that one too. Anyway, that's different than this. But I just like this so much. And I don't know if I would do it in prints or scraps. like a scrappy quilt, or solids. Anyway, so yeah, so I got that. And like I said, there's lots of other stuff. There's for each of the blocks, there's a project, and they range like mostly quilts, but then also like there's like a for the crossmatch block a bag, and there's other stuff too. So excited. So that was nice. And I think it comes with a CD of pattern templates. Yeah, I think so. One moment, I'll be right back. I need to plug my computer. Okay, I'm back. So that's all of the crafting. So I've been quite busy, but I have just been focusing on a few projects. So yeah, more of that to come in the future. I've been reading as well, so let's talk about that. I have finished 2 books since we last spoke, which is pretty good considering my track record for this podcast and reading. So let's talk about those. The first book I finished was Under Wildwood. This is a children's book by Colin Roy, probably middle grade in terms of intended audience age. Colin Roy, if you don't know, is the lead singer of a indie rock band, The Decemberists, who me and several of my friends were super into in high school. I still like them quite a bit. They do kind of folksy rock music, but with like the songs are always like stories, but like in a cool way. I don't know. Look them up. I like it. And then it's illustrated by Carson Ellis, who is his wife, I believe, or partner. And she's a wonderful illustrator. I don't know if you can see the front. Just like this really cool, unique style. And there are lots of cool pictures on the inside. There are a few full color pictures. Yeah, like these plates in here. And anyway, it's just very pretty. And I love maps. Anyway, this is the second book in the what I guess is called the Wildwood trilogy. The first book is just called Wildwood, and then there's a third one I think that's out now, and I can't remember the name of it. But there's pretty sure it's just 3. So I read Wildwood about a year ago or so. I liked it fine, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to, and it was just hard for me to get into. The premise of Wildwood is that the main character's name is Prue, P-R-U-E. Prue McKeel, I believe. She lives in Portland, Oregon, or maybe like a town around Portland. And then she is drawn towards this area called the Impassable Wilderness, which is like this forest that people can't get into. Like if you try to walk into it, you'll wander around and then it will spit you back out and you won't actually get anywhere. But in the first book, her little baby brother is stolen and taken into the wilderness, and all kinds of adventures ensue when she goes to get him. And then she meets lots of friends there, including a boy, what's his name? Curtis, named Curtis, and they have lots of adventures. And then that first book kind of resolves itself. She goes back to the real world. Curtis stays in the Wildwood, even though he's from the real world, because he just loves it there. So he stays to train to be a bandit. And anyway, and then in this book, she has been like, she's being drawn towards the wood. Like she can't get out of her head, and she keeps feeling need to go there. And then so she goes, and she finds she's been called there because they're having some problems there. And she meets back up with Curtis, and they have more adventures. So yeah, for some reason I like this book. I just was into it more than the first one. Like I wanted to pick it up and read it. And or maybe I wasn't in the mood for the first book the first time I read it. It's like I didn't like it. I just wasn't as into it as I thought I would be. This is usually kind of right up my alley. But anyway, or maybe Colin Roy just kind of hit his stride as a writer, and I just responded to it better. Whatever. But yeah, I like this a lot. There's lots of things going on. Lots of side stories. There's like the Curtis and Prue. But then there's also I think Curtis's sisters have a little side story of their own, and it all kind of comes together. And then at the end, there's like basically leads on that, like here's what all these people are doing, and they're all trying to achieve some goals, and kind of sets it up for the last book. So yeah, so not a standalone by any means. But anyway, it was good, and if you like this sort of thing, children's fantasy, I guess, it's not childish in any way. Like, I think it's a perfectly well written story that adults can enjoy too, but definitely suitable for children as well. There is some pretty, not graphic, but just like people die and stuff happens. So it's not, if you have sensitive kids, maybe read it with them or wait till they're a bit older or something. But so yeah, so that was that. So I was happy with that. The other book I finished was an audiobook, which I don't think I have a picture of, but it was called Masters of Doom. And let me pull up the author because I don't need to forget that. And while I'm pulling it up, it was an audiobook that I had on Audible, and it was called Masters of Doom, and it's a nonfiction book, which it's not something I read all the time, but I did this time, and it's about video games. So the Doom in the title refers to the video game Doom, and it's about the two guys that spearheaded the company that made that video game along with some others, and kind of a biography of them in terms of how they became like super mega video game makers, and their lives leading up to that, and then after that as well. So yeah, Masters of Doom: How Two Guys Created an Empire and Transformed Pop Culture by David Kushner. It was read by Will Wheaton, who is an actor but also does tabletop on YouTube for board games. It's like a show where they play board games. And he was on Star Trek, I believe, in the 80s or something. I'm not a Trekkie, so I don't know the details on that. Anyway, he's a internet person. And anyway, he narrated it. He did a good job narrating it. He has a good voice that's easy to listen to. And I like Will Wheaton, so it's kind of like him telling me a story, which was cool. So yeah, this is a story of John Carmack and John Romero. They created this video game Doom. And then before that, they were like in the programming computers, so it talks about them as kids and how they got into computers and programming, and then making games and things like that. So I play video games. I have for most of my life since I've been old enough to play video games. I'm not like a super hardcore gamer, but I've enjoyed enough to know like different genres of games and how things have progressed over the last almost 20 years. I mean, I guess before that too, because even though I wasn't playing them or even alive at that time, I am aware of references to older games. So anyway, so this book was not only about, it was focused on like these two guys, John Romero and John Carmack, and kind of their lives and working towards building these games, but it was also really interesting to see how they made such big innovations in games. So they made the first-person shooter, and they made lots of advances in graphics for video games and graphic engines and things like that. So if you're interested in any of those things, this was a quick listen, and I think would be a really quick read. I didn't read it in a hard copy, but I think it would be. It wasn't that long of an audiobook. I think like 10 hours, which is pretty short for an audiobook. So yeah, I liked it, and it wasn't anything like spectacular. The writing was just okay, but the story itself is so interesting that it's okay that the writing's just so. But yeah, so that was good. So that was the second book I finished. What I'm currently reading, I'm listening to The Sisters Grimm, which is another children's book. It is by Michael Buckley. And it's the series is called The Sisters Grimm. The first book is called The Fairy Tale Detectives. This is about two sisters, Sophie and Daphne. I can't remember the first one's name. Oops, I didn't mean to turn it on. Anyway, it doesn't say their names. Anyway, so they are two they're not really orphans. It's like their parents disappeared one day, and they don't know where they are. So it's about two sisters who are sort of orphans who are in the foster care system. They have a horrible adoption agency person that keeps placing them with all these crazy families that they have to keep running away from, and then they get placed with this lady who claims to be their grandmother, but they've always been told their grandmother's dead, so they don't believe that it's her at first. And the older sister, Sophie or whatever her name is, keeps trying to run away, and the younger sister ends up liking this lady that claims to be their grandmother, and so they have that to deal with. So the first part of the book is kind of them trying to figure out if that really is their grandmother or not. And then they also go to a new place called Fairyport Landing, which they soon find out is like this place where all the fairy tale creatures came to live because they were being persecuted back in Europe where they were from. And so these are all the fairy tales from like Grimm fairy tales. These kids are supposed to be in like the Grimm family line. That's why they're called the Sisters Grimm. And so yeah, so it's just kind of, it's cute, and it kind of reminds me of Once Upon a Time, that show that's on ABC, I think, very similar to that. And then anyway, and their grandmother gets kidnapped by like a giant or something, and they're trying to save her, and that's where I am right now. So yeah, it's cute. I don't like the narration style. It sounds like a old-timey newsreel person or something. I just don't like it. It doesn't seem to fit the story very well. And then also too, you've got like the two main characters are girls, and then you have this like very masculine voice, and it just doesn't fit them at all. So like when they speak, the guy doing the voices, he's a fine narrator. I don't think his voice even bothers me. I just don't think it fits the story. So there's that. And then two, I think I might have preferred to read this one. I'm just not enjoying the audiobook part of this as much. But it's fine, and I'm going to finish it, so I'll let you know how that goes. But I think it's just going to be like just an okay one. And I don't know if I'll finish, if I'll read any more in the series. But I think it would be very enjoyable to young children. Okay. And then I'm still reading Wuthering Heights. I have only made very little progress on that. But yeah. But the one book that I guess you can say I've started it, I've just barely cracked it open. So we'll just say I'm getting ready to read it, and I'm really excited about another children's book. Sorry guys, this has been a lot of kids' book. Recently I've been really busy at work, so I have reading time. I kind of want something easy, and since I like reading kids' books, it kind of gravitates towards that when I'm stressed out or tired a lot. Anyway, so this book is Return to the Willows. It's by Kate, one person, not Katie Camillo. Jacqueline Kelly. She wrote The Evolution of Capernaum Tape, which is one of my very favorite children's books that has come out in the last probably 5 or 6 years. This is a kind of a follow-up to Wind in the Willows, which was written by Ken something. Kenneth Graham, not Ken Follett. Ken Follett wrote Pillars of the Earth, not Wind in the Willows. Anyway, so this is like a follow-up to that. Obviously, Kenneth Graham is dead probably at this point, so he didn't approve this, but she is a wonderful author, and so I'm very confident this will be good. Maybe I shouldn't be that confident or I'll be disappointed, but I'm so excited to read this. I love Wind in the Willows. It's such a classic children's book, and just enjoyable if you like anthropomorphic animals and cute things in the British countryside. But yeah, and it has these gorgeous illustrations in it. Just everything is so pretty. And big picture and big words, because I'm a tiny child who needs pictures and big words. And there's footnotes. I can never get enough of footnotes in novels because they're just usually funny. So yeah, there's that. And then she, like, as in writing this, she fully acknowledges that she is not the original author, like the narrator does in the book, which I think is a good way to take it. Like, hey, this isn't the original writer. I'm just trying to do a story justice that I love as well. So hopefully that will be a good point to start that story off with. I'll let you know how it goes, but I really like this a lot so far. I've read like 2 sentences, so who knows if I know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then last but not least, I've kind of a bummer in the book section. I started a book that I thought I was really gonna like, and I got not very important. I don't know, 80 pages into it, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I don't like it. I have no desire to read it. I'm basically making myself read it, and I just don't have. I'm not gonna waste my reading time on that. So anyway, so that book was The Tower of the Tortoise. No, The Tower of the Zoo and the Tortoise by Julia Stewart. This book is about a man who is a guard in the Tower of London, but like in modern day. So he's really like a tour guide, but he lives there with his wife, and they're like late middle aged. I think it was supposed to be like, there's all these people, cast of characters, and it's also about their marriage. It's not like a serious book. I mean, it's not like comical, but it's just a quirky story. And it says among the eccentric characters, there's like a barmaid, a reverend. Yeah, like even reading the description again right now, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, but the writing wasn't just not that great. That's not even true. Like, the writing's fine. I couldn't get into it. There were times where I liked it and times that I didn't. So maybe if I tried it a different time, I'd like it. I don't know. But yeah, so this didn't do it for me. So that was a bummer. Went and I did not finish this on Goodreads. So yeah, so that's it. I believe that's everything. Oh, one last thing. I meant to show this earlier. Or not. I have two more things to talk about. So with my sister-in-law's birthday present that I got her a card that matches all of these colors. Isn't that cute? Anyway, I was just proud of myself. I'm not usually like a person that does a great job with gift wrapping and cards and stuff, so the fact that it matches her present is sort of super impressive to me. Anyway, I got this card at Trader Joe's. So in Arkansas, we do not have Trader Joe's, but we moved to North Carolina, and now we do have Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is awesome. They have lots of good food, and it's cheap, and they have greeting cards that are awesome, and they're 99 cents. Like, greeting cards everywhere are like $5,000 for each one, and this is 99 cents, and it's so cute, and like well made. Like, the paper's thick, and it's cute, and that's what I'm inside it. Yeah, crazy. Like, I was like, look at all these great cards. Like, the artwork is so great, and the quality's good, and it's ridiculous. So, if anyone's wondering, Hallmark is ripping you off. They have some dumb cards that aren't even like funny, and they look dumb, and they cost like $6. Ripping you off. Which I think we all knew anyway, but knowing that there was an alternative that's 99 cents makes it even more obvious. So yeah, so there's that. So last thing, so since we've moved here, my exercise routine disappeared, and I've been trying to get back into it. Exercise and eating right is always like, I obviously know that I should be doing it, but it's not something that like I do very easily, because I'm always tempted to not do those things. And so I'm trying to do a better job. So one of the things that I'm doing is trying to build up my cardio endurance. And I've never been like able to run very much. Part of that is because it hurts my legs quite a bit. Part of it is because I hate running. It's super boring, and I don't want to spend your time. But that being said, I do need to do cardio. So, and I feel like it's something I should be able to do sometimes. So I am doing the Couch to 5K training program, which is like you can get an app for it, I think, and you can also just find it online. But it's like a 8-week training program to get you from like can't really run at all to like being able to run a 5K, which is like 3 point something miles. So like I have run a 5K before, but not like run the whole thing. I'd like to be able to actually run that far and not like run walk that far. So I started doing that. I've done 2 days of it so far. I think the beginning point, like you like warm up and then you do it's like a minute of running, 90 seconds of walking. A minute of running, 90 seconds of walking for 20 minutes, and then you cool down. So it's like a 30-minute workout. It's not my workout, but like 30 minutes of running or jogging or whatever. And then so I've done that twice now, and I've been doing it outside. So just run out from our house and I run down the street until I hit halfway and I turn around and come back. I have the app on my phone, so I'll listen to an audiobook, then I'll have the app running, and it will tell me when to run and walk. So like I'll be listening and it'll be like start running, so I start running, and then I listen to an audiobook and it'll say start walking, and so then I stop. So I don't have to keep up with the timing myself. So that's nice. And then it will say like you've reached halfway when it's halfway over, and that's when I turn around and come back, and then I'll get home, right when it's over. So that's good. But also by doing it outside, down our street, we have some not horrible, but some like decent sized hills. So, like I'm going up and down there and back, and so that's good. So I'm doing that as well. And that's it. This should be everything. It is getting late. Oh, it's actually later than. I need to change the clock on. It's getting late. I need to go to sleep. Or knit. I'll probably knit, to be honest. I'm not quite asleep. Knit for a little bit, and then go to bed. And so I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I haven't got the blog situated yet. I know I said I would work on that. Just haven't. I'm doing good to get this done when I said I would. So I'll be working on it. There's just a lot going on right now in every area of my life. So we will do it as we can. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.